Group. WholesaleSupply.us.
Need a primary care provider? Erlanger Medical Group has more than any group in the region. And with 24 primary care locations, there's one near you. For an appointment, call 423-778-DOCS. That's 778-DOCS.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks, Dalton Pike at the state line.
Hey, Andy Morris here. Join me along with my co-host on The Drive, presented by Hardees, weekdays at 5 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Cleveland and Bradley County's local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no style. Got a thirst for killing. Think about it.
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Andy Morris here along with Jim Gum and Jacob Mason. And man, do we have a big show for you all today. We're going to get straight into it here in just a second. Again, we do want to thank everyone that's tuning in on the new ESPN Cleveland 101.3 app. Also on YouTube, you can stream from there. You can stream from Facebook. And, of course, on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. So expanding our market, getting the word out of The Drive to everybody here in the community. Excited to do that in various different manners. So a big deal for us to be able to share the word of sport with the community here.
Yeah, we've got two guests today. One you're probably very familiar with. Another one probably not familiar with at all. So, and I'll tell you the one we're going to have on first at around 5:20 today. We're going to have Tony Barnhart, also known as Mr. College Football. He worked at the AJC for a long time, and you'll probably remember him from the SEC on CBS. He did the pregame and halftime, so we got him at 5:20. And we've got another big guest coming on after him.
Yeah, 5:40, Cleveland High School announced today their new head basketball coach, Howard Pride. And listen, Howard Pride, looking over his credentials and his resume here, very impressive hire for Cleveland High School and the basketball program there. Excited to have Coach Pride on with us at 5:40. So big show today, busy show today. And real quick before we dive into a whole lot more, we're about to talk Atlanta Braves quick and early here today. But today marks Dwayne Williams' birthday as we continue to remember Dwayne, someone who was an integral piece of getting ESPN Cleveland started, and talk about a wonderful person. Not only was he a great radio personality, but a wonderful person who I know was really single-handedly responsible for getting Jacob involved here at the radio station and calling high school football, which is, listen, we do a lot of sports coverage here. High school football is really what powers everything and really got the ball rolling with ESPN Cleveland. And that you can accredit a lot of that to Dwayne Williams. So we wish him a very happy birthday in heaven.
That's right. You know, you knew him better than I did, but I did know him. But he was a super nice guy. Just treated everyone with such respect and everything. So liked him a whole lot. And like you said, this radio station's where it's at now because a lot of the work that he put into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I credit Dwayne with being able to have this opportunity and really like announcing in general. My PA announcing, he gave me my first shot. Getting to do that at Walker Valley. So it
might have been after 1 a.m., but it was all good.
It was very, very late. At night, he's like, man, I got to be up at the radio at 5 o'clock in the morning. He goes, you want to do this?
There was a lightning delay.
I said, I would love to try it. And so, he opened a door of opportunity that I really never thought I was going to be able to do. I've always loved sports. I've loved talking about them. I love arguing about it. And
he does.
He opened the door for me to be here. And so, happy birthday, brother. We'll see you one day.
Absolutely.
Hey, Another quick story here real quick. I got to plug this guy because he's my father. But there's an article in the Cleveland Daily Banner today. A longtime Walker Valley Wrestling coach, Alan Morris, was storied in the Banner as he steps away after nearly 40 years of service. So great story in there, and it was actually shared by the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. So very, very excited to have that article out there on him. And, he's – pun intended here, he's handing the reins over to Coach Adam Raines, who's going to be the new head coach, who he and I have both been assistants with my dad for many years. Former teammate of mine, grew up wrestling for my dad in the youth club over at Bradley together. So Walker Valley Wrestling's in great hands with him, but it's a good read. Richard Roberts is a guy who's covered a lot of wrestling in the area, specifically Walker Valley Wrestling, and anything having to do with my dad that he's been involved in, Richard's usually written about it. Great story and a good read for those of you that are interested in some wrestling and a good old-timer.
I've known your dad for, 35, 40 years, I guess. And, of course, we coached youth football together. And I remember his passion about wrestling, even during football practice. He'd be talking about, if a wrestler was out here, he'd have a big advantage. Talking about the way that wrestlers
leverage,
use leverage. That's the word. Use their leverage. And I was like, you're right. But he knew way more about it than I did. But your dad, he's a heck of a guy.
Yeah, he wasn't shy to use baseball, youth football as a recruiting tool to get kids on the wrestling mat. And it shows in this community with where we are with wrestling today. He was a big part of that. So good reading the Cleveland Daily Banner.
Great wrestling coach. He raised two weirdos, though.
Listen, a lot of our listeners would probably agree with Jacob. But, hey, listen, real quick, got to plug our friends over at Mayfield Dairy. When it comes to Mayfield Dairy ice cream, you'll never have a boring bite. Their limited edition ice creams, cherry chocolate chip and banana pudding, are inspired by traditional Southern recipes and seasonal favorites. You can pick some up today at your local grocery store. Visit them online at MayfieldDairy.com. Of course, Mayfield Dairy, huge Braves people over there as they sponsor all of our Braves coverage here on ESPN Cleveland. And we got to talk about the Braves last night, game one of the series with the New York Mets. Braves were able, in true comeback fashion, to come back and beat the Mets 5-4 in the first game of the series. Spencer Schwellenbach went 7 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. But the bullpen, when it comes to pitching, was a story. A clean 8th inning from Pierce Johnson, a clean 9th inning from Dylan Lee, and then Raciel Iglesias, someone that we've kind of been worried about, a clean 10th inning. So 3 innings from your pen where they looked like they were ready to play some baseball, and that was a huge sign. Of course, the game started at 8:10. It was rain delayed, so first pitch was at 8:10, and you could just kind of tell there was a lot of anticipation by the time the thing got started.
I'm curious, and I don't know. I know you watched. I don't know if you watched it, but
no, we didn't.
The eighth inning, the Braves load the bases up with no outs, and the next thing you know, bases still loaded, 2 outs.
Yeah,
I know
it's
you had, I can imagine what you were thinking. If we don't score here, this is it. The season's over. But, man, you got to give it to Zuna. He came through. And
the big bear, man.
He came through with that double and cleared the bases, tied it up, go to the extra innings, and that's where the Braves win it. But that was a tremendous comeback win for the Braves.
Where was Juan Soto's head at last night?
Listen, so he started the game off in the first inning with a home run. He hit a home run in the first, gave the Mets a 1-0 lead. And you're thinking, this is why this guy's making all this money. But 2 base running errors from Juan Soto.
A blunder was one.
One of them. I don't know. He wanted to blame the umpire that was down the first base line in right field for not making the call soon enough, which I watched it, and it was kind of a delayed call. He wanted to make sure that the catch was maintained before he called the out, is what the umpire was doing. Soto isn't kind of in no man's land between first and second base there and has a great view right to that brick wall and that caged-in area below the chop where Acuna makes a phenomenal leaping catch. But it was clear. Acuna's got a bright baby blue glove on, and the ball goes straight into it. He gloves it. Once he maintains the catch, the ump, still a little slower than you would probably like, makes the call. But Soto acts like he had no clue where the ball ever was.
No,
that's on Soto.
Yeah, he was looking out there like it went over the fence. Like he was like, where's? It was a very big blunder in my opinion. Like he just sat there and he was staring off into space, throwing his arms up. Like what happened? I'm like, Clearly, like, it was a great catch. Clearly, he caught it.
But
then,
clearly.
and then Acuna got back, set his feet, and then made a throw, and he's still kind of standing out there in no man's land. So
it was Pete Alonso's the Met who. A lot of people, it being Pete Alonso, were probably thinking, hey, this one's out of here because Pete Alonso can crush them. He can crank them. But as you both said, like, if you're paying attention, how do you miss that? Acuna left his feet, which was nice to see him making an athletic move in the outfield like that in confidence, because it's a we're right here on ESPN. That was a Sports Center top 10 play right there.
Yeah,
left his feet, full extension, makes the catch, and extra bases for him. But I tell you what, I don't know. I don't know what Soto was thinking. Got doubled off at first. He was thinking extra bases and just absolutely just missed the play. There's no excuse. And ninth inning tied baseball game.
Yeah, that's rough.
Can't afford that.
No,
can't
that's
afford
rough.
that.
I mean, I'm happy it happened, but rough
we'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jim, you alluded to that 8th inning hit by Marcell Ozuna. Ended up tying the game at 4 with that bases clearing hit down the third baseline. And there's just something about the Big Bear, something about Marcell Ozuna. And he was down to his last strike.
Yeah, it was 2 strikes, 2 outs, everything.
But he has got such a knack for those big moments. He's such an awkwardly laid back, goofy, fun kind of guy. But you can tell when he's locked in because you had confidence. While he was up there with 2 strikes on him, you're thinking, hey, this guy can still do something with it.
I love the fact as he's running between first and second, he's doing a waving his arms like a third base coach is, telling them all get in there, man. So, yeah, they tie it up, and, of course, then they win it in the 10th inning, and just a huge win. This may be, if the Braves do make some kind of noise in the second half of the season, this may be that one game you look back at and say, remember that game against the Mets? We were all but dead, and this was the starting point. We'll have to wait and see, of course.
Yeah, and then, of course, in the 10th inning, Austin Riley gets to wear the magical bubblegum bucket as his crown for winning the game. A deep fly ball to right center field. Bases were loaded, and that won the game for the Braves. And I believe it was Eli White who scored from third on that play. But Austin Riley's a guy who everyone's been saying, hey, needs to kind of pull his weight at the plate. That was as big of a knock right there. Listen, it's an out. Who cares? You win the game on it. And it's not going to show in the stat sheet, which he needs some help right now. The stat sheet's not looking great for him. But in that moment, he knew, I need a deep fly ball. I got to get it to the outfield. He about hit it out, just probably a few feet shy of it being a grand slam. But, in that situation, in the 10th inning, you get a great appearance from Raciel Iglesias showing up, 3 up, 3 down, doing his job. That is huge. And then to take advantage of that in the 10th inning, you obviously starting with that ghost runner on second base, which I know a lot of people were in that category, not a huge fan of, but the Braves took advantage of it and did their job on the mound in the 10th inning to not let the Mets take advantage of it.
And then tonight you get Chris Sale. So you really got to feel good about it tonight. The Mets, I think they're putting a guy out there that had
it's Paul Blackburn. He has no record,
0-0,
and he's got a 6.75 ERA on the season.
It sounds to me like this is the Braves' best opportunity to really take advantage of this. And then, if they do that, then they've won the first 2.
Got to feel good with Sale on the mound.
Bring those brooms out on Thursday.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. And so I believe we talked about this yesterday, lined up to start Thursday, and I want to make sure I get this right. I believe it's Strider, right? Yeah, it is. So Spencer Strider is lined up to get the start Thursday. So you're in a spot where Spencer Strider's coming off his best start of the year. The Braves really could do a lot of damage if they can not only win this series. We want to take it. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves one game at a time. Let's win tonight, win the series, then we can worry about the sweep. But man, let's get ahead of ourselves. How nice would it be to sweep the New York Mets?
Well, hey, if you've got Frank the Tank yelling and screaming at the camera already in Game 1, it's a good sign for the Braves.
Jim, do you know who Frank the Tank is?
No.
So he's the Barstool personality for Barstool Sports. Okay. That he absolutely has meltdowns when his team doesn't do good. But he's the infamous Mets fan that every year the Mets have choked. And when I say every year, I mean every single year.
They really do.
And he has these epic, like after last night's game, he goes, "That's it. The Mets are going to lose 49 straight. We're terrible." And it's hilarious. It's so funny. Such good baseball comedy. But again, Braves with a huge win in Game 1 tonight. Back in action with the Mets. Down in the A at 7:15. First pitch, Chris Sale on the bump for the Bravos. 4-4 on the year with a 2.79 ERA. Again, taking on Paul Blackburn. No record, 6.75 ERA. This is our opportunity. You said it, Jim. This got to go after him right here and win this one, take the series. That game will be right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3 and on Mix 104.1, presented by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. So looking forward to some Braves action as we listen. It's 5:14, fellas, and we've got our Braves segment in. We might talk a little bit more at the end of the show if we have some time.
Yeah. Speaking of baseball, just an update in the top of the 8th in the College World Series. Coastal Carolina looks like they're going to eliminate Louisville. They're up 10-3. So the Chanticleers are doing well there in Omaha. So good for the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. I love it.
Listen, they're a program too. They're nothing to scoff at all because
this isn't Murray State.
No, it's not. And for the casual baseball fan, the college baseball fan, might not realize Coastal's legit. Like they've got a reputation when it comes to college baseball. Like you throw them in the mix with Tennessee, throw them in the mix with Vanderbilt and LSU and Clemson and South Carolina and all those good baseball programs, Mississippi State, Texas. Coastal's right there with them. Over the past 10 years, what they've been able to do, that program, they're an elite college program, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and then, like I said, they're on the verge of eliminating Louisville. So, on the other side, we know it's going to be Arkansas versus LSU, and Arkansas has got to win 2 straight, but they're there.
That's 2 programs who do not like each other.
No, so they're there. Listen, if Arkansas wins, I think it's tomorrow night they play, then it's 1 game for going to the World Series championship game. So you got to love the opportunity for Arkansas. And I've told you guys, between Arkansas and LSU, and I'm not an anti-LSU guy, but I am pulling for Arkansas. Why? LSU's won 7 national championships. They're going for their 8th. Arkansas is looking for championship number 1. So I like to see new blood get those championships. So go Arkansas.
Yeah, that game comes on at 7 tonight. So
7 tonight.
Yeah, so it'll be 7 o'clock. Arkansas. It'll be interesting after such an emotional high of the in my opinion, that pitching performance by that Arkansas pitcher with the 19 Ks, yeah. he hit,
nearly had a perfect game.
He hit one batter.
Slider hit his back toe.
Is that not, in your opinion, your team is about to be eliminated? If you don't,
they're all elimination games.
If you don't win this game. Is that one of the best pitching performances in history?
It's only the third.
For sure.
Across all levels. I'm talking about MLB, sure. Across all levels of baseball.
As far as clutch goes, it's got to be right up there.
I mean, Don Larson throwing a perfect game in the World Series. That's always going to be number 1 because it's the Major League World Series. But man, when it comes to college.
Yes.
This may be the most clutch pitching performance in college baseball.
I think it would have got some more notoriety had it have been in the championship.
For sure, yeah.
But I'm on board with that because there's only been 3 no-hitters in the College World Series in the history of it. That's pretty impressive. And
19 Ks, that on top of the no-hitter.
Yeah, 19 Ks is
dominant,
crazy.
Man.
Crazy.
Dominant.
And again, anyone that's ever thrown a slider, attempted to throw a slider, successful or not at doing it, being able to control that and have, especially with the kind of break that a guy like he does on it, he chipped his back toe of the batter. Just chipped his back toe. So just a couple inches away from having a perfect game. Very impressive. Unbelievable. Hey, we do have some breaking news. Sounds like just got a message here from our buddy Ryan Felton who listen, we love you, Ryan. Appreciate you listening to the show today. But the Los Angeles Lakers are being sold.
Holy cow, the Bus family?
The Bus family, yep.
Holy cow.
Bus family agrees to sell Lakers, source says.
$10 billion.
With a B.
With a B.
Holy Toledo.
Wow.
Well,
that's great. Have y'all ever, I know this is a lot of topic, have y'all ever talked about the difference between a million and a billion?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Like a million seconds is like 11 days. A billion seconds is 32 years.
Yes.
Like that's wild.
It's unbelievable. Great
Hey, last thing I've got before we go to break here. Big news in the hockey community. The Florida Panthers repeat as Stanley Cup champions, and Canada remains winless in the Stanley Cup since 1993. Isn't that hard to believe?
Unbelievable. It's crazy stuff.
Canadian fans, it must eat them alive, honestly.
Panthers go back-to-back, by the way.
Like, it must eat, because that's their sport.
That is their sport.
And they have had, like, zero success in the NH. I feel for them.
I actually root for the Canadian teams because of this streak. I do.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, that would be like
I'm with Andy on that one.
that would be like Big Money Mason losing a hot wing eating contest. It just shouldn't happen.
It ain't going to. Ain't going to.
Hey, with that, you're listening to The Drive. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, got a big-time interview here with Tony Barnhart. Those of you that remember Tony, Mr. College Football, former host of the SEC on CBS. Excited to have him right here on The Drive when we come back.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's the Trade-In Man.
This is John Davis at Kia Cleveland announcing our summer blockbuster blowout. You don't need to be a hero to pay zero. Zero down. Zero payments this summer. Plus, I need your trade, and I need it today, and I'm willing to overpay. Don't let the credit villains keep you from driving your dream car. At Kia Cleveland, getting approved is a possible mission. Our lenders will say yes to you and yes to your situation. Remember, I'll beat any deal from anywhere in Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama. Come see me, John Davis, your hero in the car business, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where getting the best deal is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Looking for the dealer who's gonna give you more. Kia of Cleveland Superstore.
Example 25K4LX. 0 down, $349 per month for 72 months at 4.9% APR. Negative trade equity may be refinanced, subject to lender approval. Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
KiaofCleveland.com.
Hardee's Original Bag packs 2 full-size favorites, plus fries and a drink starting at $5.99. Pair any 2 items. Choose from a charbroiled double cheeseburger, hot ham and cheese, or hand-breaded chicken tender wrap. Or choose 2 double cheeseburgers for just $1 more. A great big bag of original goodness starting at just $5.99. Only at Hardee's. Download the Hardee's app and join My Rewards for special offers. These items only, tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
When you need a new roof, it's all about trust. Your home is too big an investment and you can't afford to make a mistake. Cleveland Plywood has the products and expertise you're looking for. Contractors have trusted them for over 50 years, and they carry only proven products from reputable suppliers like IKO. IKO Cambridge is one of the heaviest weight asphalt shingles you can buy, and their limited warranties are among the industry's best. Protect the investment you've made in your home. Go with the pros at Cleveland Plywood, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland. Call 472-3357. Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN in Cleveland. Hope everyone out there is having a good day. Though it's a little rainy outside, just be careful out there. Hey, our friends over at Duracell are now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 an hour. Excellent benefits beginning day number 1. Medical, dental, and vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And we're happy to have Mr. College Football himself, Tony Barnhart, joining us. So hopefully, well, we've got a little issue going on. I'll tell you what, we're going to just wait until we'll get him back here in just a second. But we're going to get Tony on here in just a second, and we're going to talk to him about all the things going on in college football. And we do have a lot of news going. Now, before we get him back, we do have some breaking news about the Lakers being sold over $10 billion. That's crazy numbers.
Yeah, that's insane. for those of you that are NBA fans, specifically Los Angeles Lakers fans, you remember Jerry Buss sitting down courtside during the string of NBA finals with Shaq and Kobe, and they were so dominant. And the Buss family's always ran a great organization out there in L.A., but this is big news as the Buss family is set to sell the Lakers, looking like it's going to be north of $10 billion. That's insane.
That's chunk money for Tony Barnhart, isn't it, Tony?
Exactly.
Tony,
exactly.
Appreciate you coming on with us today, man. Hey, listen, I love to start with the getting your opinion about postseason college football, because I'm a big believer that no sport, and I mean it's not even close, no sport has a better regular season than college football. And Tony, my fear is that growing the postseason too big, that end of season rivalry games will become less important. How many teams is too many, Tony?
Well, for me, 16 is the right number. I think we're going to go to 16 in 2026, and I think it's going to work out great. And I don't worry about the rivalry games and all that. They're all going to mean what they've always meant. It's just that more people are going to have access to the postseason, and we want more football. What's wrong with more football?
Oh no,
I like more football.
Agree.
Particularly, I want more SEC football. So that's kind of where I am.
Well, great segue then. So in 1992, the SEC adds Arkansas and South Carolina. They go to 8 league games. 2012, the SEC adds Missouri and A&M. They stay at 8 games. And now they've added Oklahoma and Texas. In your opinion, should the Southeastern Conference go to 9 conference games?
Absolutely. The issue that I have is, now I am concerned about what I call the secondary rivalries. Georgia-Auburn is my favorite game, and that Georgia's primary rival is Florida. And I'm concerned that if we don't go to 9 games, then all of a sudden Georgia and Auburn are going to play not every year, which they've done since 1892, I might add. And instead of doing that, we play every other year. And I don't want Auburn and Georgia to play every other year. I want them to play every year. So that's kind of where now Commissioner Sankey has said they've got a plan. They got a plan to take care of the Tennessee-Alabama, great rivalry, historic rivalry, Georgia-Auburn. That will take care of those secondary rivalries. I'll believe it when I see it. But for now, I think it would solve a lot of issues if the SEC would go to 9 conference games. I know the coaches don't like it, but you know what? The coaches don't have a vote.
So you brought up Georgia. I'm a big Georgia fan.
He's our resident Bulldog here on ESPN Cleveland.
I'm with you that game just means too much, and you can't lose it. But talking about the Dogs, they kind of down years, not the right word. We won the SEC championship. From a talent standpoint, it just seemed like it was a little bit different. We're not able to run the football very well. But not a lot of belief in Gunnar Stockton coming up. I've seen some power rankings with them having him at 13. What's your opinion on the Georgia Bulldogs this year and kind of where they fall in the SEC?
Well, first of all, for all my Georgia friends who just were complaining about this, wait a minute, guys. The University of Georgia football team won 11 games last year. They beat Texas not once, but twice. They won the Southeastern Conference Championship and made the college football playoff. Now, call me crazy, but that sounds like a pretty good year to me.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm not concerned about. I'm more concerned. Everybody's worried about the quarterback. I think Gunnar Stockton's going to be fine. The players are going to rally behind him. But I'm more concerned about the fact that Georgia led the nation with 36 drop passes last year. Mm-hmm. I'm more concerned about the fact that Georgia is not a 1,000-yard rusher since 2019. I'm more concerned that Georgia finished 15th out of 16 in running the football and couldn't run it when they wanted to. Those things are too great. And by the way, you got to replace a lot of people on the offensive line. So Georgia's got a lot of things to worry about. I don't think the quarterback's one of them.
Yeah, I'm with you. The inability to run the football last year really was kind of the downfall. You really thought Trevor Etienne was going to come in and give a spark. for the Dogs, but he stayed hurt most of the year. You had Nate Frazier picking up a lot of slack as a freshman, but I'm with you. I think Georgia's got to get back to their true roots of being able to run the football if they're going to continue the success that they've had in the recent history.
Nope.
Yeah, once again, we're joined by Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football. And, Tony, we're going to jump from Georgia to Tennessee real quick because between Georgia and Tennessee, we got a lot of the fan base right here in our listening area. And you talked about the quarterback position with Georgia a little bit. Tennessee, obviously, that's been a primary focus since the departure of Nico Iamaleava and Joey Aguilar coming into Knoxville. What do you anticipate this Vol offense to look like under Joey Aguilar, who really didn't get a spring and is working off of a very short time period in the system?
Yeah, I just find it fascinating that Tennessee and UCLA traded quarterbacks, and Nico ended up with less money. I mean, that's only in America, boys and girls. I think Tennessee is going to be fine now. They're going to be as good as they would have been if Nico had been there. I don't know. I really don't. But I think it's going to be an interesting year. Everybody was bragging on Tennessee when they made the decision they made not to pay the money. But I'm wondering if those same fans, what they're going to have to say if Tennessee starts 2-4.
Exactly. Tony, let me ask you this. All right. You hear all this talk about how the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten are running college football. And frankly, I don't think the SEC and the Big Ten trust each other. I think they trust each other as much as the Hatfields and McCoys or Republicans and Democrats. Do you think the SEC and the Big Ten have too much saying power in college football these days?
Well, I think you'd like for the power not to be so concentrated, but they're doing what's best for their conferences. Right now, though, the relationship between the Big Ten and the SEC is somewhat strained. We came out of Destin with hearing from the Big Ten saying, well, if the SEC wants this playoff model they seem to like so much, we'll consider it if the SEC will go to 9 conference games. I would just submit to my friends at the Big Ten, it's probably not a good idea to be telling the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference how he should be running his conference. Okay, I don't think he's doing that. So that relationship is somewhat strained. I think they will work it out. I think they will come with the what we ended up calling the 5+11 format for the playoffs in 2026, and I think that would be a lot of fun. And oh, by the way, if anybody bothers to do the math, if the SEC goes in that route, they could get as many as 6 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah, one thing you talk about the SEC potentially going to that 9-game in-conference schedule. I know there's a lot of people with the understanding that the downside of that is that you lose some of these out-of-conference big-time games that a lot of people like to see, maybe a matchup with a Big Ten school or an ACC school if you're in the SEC. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's true, but you have control of your schedule. And my feeling is we want more SEC football. I think that, and I think, oh, by the way, they need the money, and that, to me, that's the issue. Is the money will be significant.
Let me ask you this: some say that Connor Stalions that sign stealing scandal is overblown, while others say it was a big time advantage for Michigan. That the punishment needs to be severe. Where do you stand on what kind of punishment Michigan should get?
I don't care. I really don't. I've got guys. Michigan's won their national championship. Ohio State's won their national championship. The folks who got caught doing it are going to get punished for it. Let's all move on and have a good life.
Tony, this is a fun question I've got for you right now. Okay, this is just using their college football careers and trying to ignore what happened at the next level in the NFL. You've got the option of Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, and Barry Sanders. Which running back are you choosing?
Bo Jackson Herschel Walker is the best football player I ever saw as a freshman at Georgia. And so I would have to go with him. Those are all 3 incredible players. But if you made me pick one, I'm picking Herschel Walker.
I tend to agree with you. That's who I would have gone. A lot of people, and I asked the question to a few people today, and some of them were going, Bo Jackson. I'm like, you're thinking the NFL in college, and like you said, Tony, 1980, his freshman year, best I ever saw.
Yeah, Big Money Mason, our Bulldog here, has got a big grin on his face, by the way, Tony.
Well, the thing about it is, just look at the numbers. Herschel Walker broke Tony Dorsett's freshman rushing record when he was a freshman in 1980. The following year, he surpassed it with about 1,500 yards. And the following year, when he won the Heisman Trophy, he surpassed that for about 1,500, 1,600 yards. The guy had the most incredible combination of power and speed you'll ever see.
And this is during a time – sorry to cut you off. This is during a time where defenses were stacking the box, by the way.
Sure. Absolutely. And teams set up defenses to stop Herschel Walker, and he still only got 1,600 yards. I mean, the guy was just a phenomenal player.
I still contend that Herschel Walker should have got the Heisman Trophy in 1980 as a true freshman, but that's another subject for another day. All right, let me ask you this, Tony. In what world would you rather live in the 70s and 80s when you had the Big 8, Southwest Conference, the Pac-10, along with the SEC, ACC, Big 10, the 90s where you had the Big 12, Pac-12, Big East, or now when you have a 16-team SEC, a 17-team ACC, and an 18-team Big 10? Which world did you enjoy the most?
Well, Billy Donovan, the great Florida basketball coach, told me this story one time. He said he's playing golf over in Scotland, and he hits the ball into the heather, which is impossible to get out of. And the caddy said, "Oh, son, you don't want to be there." And Billy Donovan said, "No, that's exactly where I want to be because that's where I am." Okay, and I want to be right here, right now, because college football only gets bigger and it only gets better. And the adults try to mess it up. They try really hard, but college football is too soon. The irony of all of this, guys, is that the game that we see on the field every Saturday is better than it's ever been. There are more good players. There are more good coaches. People invest in facilities. The game right now is better than it's ever been. Now we got to walk our way through these things, the NIL and all that kind of stuff. That's going to take some time, but the game itself is great. And you know what? Once the games start, nobody cares.
You're right.
Who's getting what money, where the money came from, who's got a better NIL. Nobody cares about any of that once the games start.
Hey, that answer right there is why they call him Mr. College Football, by the way.
Last question for you, Tony, before we let you go. What's the best college football team you've ever seen?
Nebraska 95, when Nebraska destroyed number 2 Florida in the Fiesta Bowl for the national championship. I have never seen so many athletes in my life on a team as Nebraska 95. That was an undefeated 12-0 Florida team that they just absolutely manhandled.
Where would you put 2019 LSU?
From an offensive standpoint, as good as you're ever going to see. The generational quarterback who had an incredible instinct for the game. And so, I the overall, but hey, guys, I was standing on the field looking at those guys from Nebraska.
Yep.
And it was scary.
Those were a weight room bunch of guys right there, no doubt about it. Hey, last one I got for you. When the calendar turns 2026, who's going to be standing at the top of the college football world?
I like the University of Texas. They've got a quarterback they seem to be very fond about, and I think that will probably work out. And they've recruited very well, and Steve Sarkisian is one of the best play callers in his generation. And so I think they'll play. I've got them playing Georgia for the national championship and Texas winning.
That'd be awesome, Tony. Listen, before we let you go. The rumor is, and I think you've made this public, you're retiring covering college football at the end of this season. Is that correct?
That's right. This will be my 50th year of covering college football. My mother, who's 92 years old, said, "Son, that sounds like a nice round number." And so it's. I always promised myself when I got in this business many years ago that I would leave a year too early rather than a year too late. And the timing just feels right. And but I'm going to make one last tour of the SEC. and I've got a commitment, and I'm going to turn it into a book.
All right.
The UGA Press, which did my last book, The 19 of Green, has already agreed to do the book, and I'll be gathering information, and the book will come out probably about fall or November of 2026.
That's awesome, Tony. Hey, my last question for you before we let you go. If you could pick one game, what's the greatest college football game you've ever been to?
That's easy. Texas versus USC, Rose Bowl 2005.
Oh, wow.
Vince Young scored, because I'm there, okay? I am there working like heck to beat a deadline. But that was the good. And remember, Pete Carroll went for a first down on fourth down and didn't make it.
Yep.
Texas took the ball down the field and scored on the Vince Young run. So best game I ever saw.
Tony, we appreciate it, partner. Well, hopefully we can do this again.
Okay, guys. Enjoyed it. See you.
Thanks. Tony Barnhart, man, what a career. 50 years covering this sport that we all love, and he's been to so many games. I love this. He's going to make a tour around the SEC. This is last year covering football. Now, I have a feeling he's going to be accessible to maybe do interviews and stuff like that. He's just not going to be going and covering a game every week.
Yeah, great insight. Glad to have him on the drive. Jim, appreciate you setting that up for us. Great interview.
Yeah,
for
sure. I loved his attitude about it. It's easy. I catch myself complaining a lot about NIL and everything that's going on, and he's so right. Like, at the end of the day, we want
Here's where we are.
We want more football. We are where we are. And this right now is the greatest product of college football to ever take place. The talent is there. You know, the game. I loved it. That was it kind of brought me back to earth a little bit, because I've been complaining a lot about just the new age stuff, kind of being an old head about college football. But we are in one of the best, generationals of players, and that was a great insight.
You guys know what else we want more of? High school basketball. When we come back from this break, Cleveland High School has announced their new head basketball coach, Howard Pride, and he's going to be with us right here on The Drive when we come back from this commercial break.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's the Trade-In Man.
This is John Davis at Kia Cleveland announcing our summer blockbuster blowout. You don't need to be a hero to pay zero. Zero down. Zero payments this summer. Plus, I need your trade, and I need it today, and I'm willing to overpay. Don't let the credit villains keep you from driving your dream car. At Kia Cleveland, getting approved is a possible mission. Our lenders will say yes to you and yes to your situation. Remember, I'll beat any deal from anywhere in Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama. Come see me, John Davis, your hero in the car business, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where getting the best deal is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Looking for the dealer who's gonna give you more. Kia of Cleveland Superstore.
Example 25K4LX. 0 down, $349 per month for 72 months at 4.9% APR. Negative trade equity may be refinanced, subject to lender approval. Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
KiaofCleveland.com.
Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Hip or knee pain holding you back? There's a new reason to feel hopeful. Dr. Andrew Carlone is now part of the team at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in Cleveland. He brings advanced training in total hip and knee replacement, including minimally invasive techniques that get you back on your feet faster. Let Cleveland's orthopedic experts help you live your best life. Call 423-624-2696 or go to sportmed.com to book your visit now.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
Cleveland Tire Center's 49th anniversary blowout. Huge savings on Bridgestone and Firestone tires. Cleveland Tire Center's 49th anniversary blowout. Now through July 3rd. North Lee Highway, Cleveland, where the names said it all for 49 years. Davenport Fireworks has lost their mind. Everything is half price at Davenport Fireworks. Everything half price. Davenport Fireworks. Dalton Pike at the state line.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 1013. Andy Morris here along with Jim Gum and Jacob Mason, and we're now extremely excited. If you haven't heard, around 2 o'clock today, the Cleveland City School System made an announcement that Cleveland High School has hired new head basketball coach Howard Pride as the leader now of the Blue Raiders, and we have him right here on The Drive with us. Coach Pride, extremely excited to have you here with us today. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Hey, listen, I thank you so much for having me on. Extremely excited about the opportunity to be the new man with the Blue Raiders. I want to say thank you to A.D. Morris and Pritchard for this great opportunity.
So real quick, I'm going to throw out your bio, and feel free to interrupt me or correct me on any of this, but very impressive resume. Going back to your high school days, you were the Alabama High School Mr. Basketball Award winner in 1993, and then despite being drafted by Major League Baseball's California Angels, you chose to play basketball at Vanderbilt, where you were a multi-year starter at guard, a team captain, and earned SEC all-academic honors. And then going into your coaching experience, coached at Tennessee State, Howard, Belmont, and then more recently director of basketball operations at University of Alabama, Birmingham, along with 18 years of high school coaching experience. Did I miss anything?
Well, no, you didn't miss anything. I've had the privilege of being around some great basketball people and some great basketball minds. I will say that, Rick Byrd is chief among them. He introduced me. He took a chance on me upon graduating from Vanderbilt, and I cut my teeth at his feet. And from that point, had the opportunity to work for Mark Godfrey, Mike Davis, who made 2002 national championship game with Indiana, Frankie Allen at Tennessee State. So many great people. My high school head coach, Jack Dawes, has poured in, 10-time state champion in the state of Alabama. So I come with a lot of, gratitude for the people that I've played for and had the opportunity to learn from.
Coach, what attracted you to Cleveland and Cleveland High School?
Cleveland High School is one of the blue blood high school jobs in the state of Tennessee. Tremendous resources. The facility, if anybody's ever been in that arena, it's second to none.
Yep.
And just the leadership and the commitment. You look at volleyball, the wrestling, the football, baseball. Coach Bianca Hensley and I worked side by side at Stewart's Creek. When you think about making a commitment and wanting to work somewhere where athletics doesn't take a backseat to anything, Cleveland High School definitely comes to mind. And, we had the opportunity and privilege to play against them this past year, and Coach Tucker has done a tremendous job. But you have players that have come through there. So it's the opportunity to be in a rich sports high school, and I just saw that as the next challenge and the next appointment and assignment job-wise for me.
Coach, we've got a lot of Cleveland loyal listeners, and kind of just wanted to ask you, what kind of culture are you hoping on building there at Cleveland High School?
Well, we want to be a service-first team that we're going to be out in the community supporting our younger brothers at the middle school. We're going to have a culture that's going to be service. And I told them having a servant's heart is where we're going to be, but we're going to have the competitive greatness of warriors, that warrior spirit every time we cross the line. So we're going to be team first. We're going to be excited about serving. We're also going to be excited about competing, and we want to give them something something to be excited about.
Yeah, Coach, you had mentioned Cleveland Lady Raider head basketball coach Bianca Hensley and your relationship. How important, if you could just let our listeners know how important it is to be on a good wavelength, good communication with your women's head coach as a boys head coach at the high school level.
Well, we're joined at the hip, so to speak, because they play the same nights we play, and having seen firsthand at Stewart's Creek, she runs a top flight program, and so I feel like iron sharpens iron as far as that stuff is concerned. And with me, I go into it with an open mindset that I can learn from any and everybody. I'm kind of like a sponge, and I just want to absorb. And she runs really good sets and have a really good program. So, student athletes seeing coaches getting together and building and wanting what's best for one another. She did that for me when I was at Stewart's Creek, and I did that for her. And so that opportunity to work together again, really excited. It really excited me.
Coach, is there a style of basketball that you're most comfortable coaching, or are you just going to adjust to the players that you have on the floor?
It would be a disrespect to say that there is a style that I emulate. I can't go and recruit players, and I'm going to have to go and I'm going to coach the kids that show up year in and year out. So I've been privileged to work for some really good basketball minds, and so I will make the adjustments year in and year out to the kind of personnel that walks the halls. And I'm comfortable playing any style of basketball and not trying to make kids fit a certain style. Night in and night out, what you will see is our kids competing and playing hard to the very last whistle.
Coach, you've probably got several soon-to-be players for you and their families listening right now. If there's anything that you could use your time with us to mention and say to them directly, what would that be?
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm honored and flattered to have the opportunity to serve as your head coach. You have a competitor, a friend, a community leader, and I'm excited to pour into your young men. We will get the best out of them, first in the classroom, in the hallways, but more importantly on the court.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. Exciting new chapter for Cleveland basketball, a lot of rich history, and we're excited to go alongside you during your journey. We'd love to have you back on.
Well, thank you for the time, and let's get ready to get excited about some Raiders basketball. I'm looking forward. Let's go Cleveland.
Hey, right. Real quick, I do have one fun question for you. I know Coach Hensley, she's big on her Rebels, Ole Miss girl. Now, are you guys, you go back and forth being a Commodore? Do you have a little bit of friendly rivalry there?
Listen, we definitely have a friendly rivalry. She's hotty-toddy every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And I'm anchored down every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So, yes, when the Commodores and Ole Miss, that's the house divided, the gymnasium will be divided, of course.
Awesome. Hey, once again, new Cleveland High School head boys basketball coach Howard Pride joining the show here on The Drive. Thank you so much for your time, Coach, and we definitely want to have you on in the future.
Hey, thank you so much, and let's go Raiders.
That's it. Once again, Howard Pride, man, big-time hire for Cleveland basketball.
Yeah, it's a big-time hire for the city. To me, it sounds to me like, listen, I love the fact that he called Cleveland High School one of the state's blue bloods. Because when you live here, you take it for granted how desirable the athletics are at Cleveland, Bradley, Walker Valley. They're desirable jobs. People will travel and move their families to come here to work and coach. We're very, very blessed.
You know what I should have asked him, and I'm kicking myself. I should have asked him his take on Diego Pavia. Vanderbilt quarterback. Lot going on with that guy right now. But Coach Pride, a Vanderbilt guy, which I think is so cool to have that link and that connection. Obviously, with Coach Tucker, you had a little bit of LSU connection. And you know, I know a lot of people are going to miss Coach Tucker, but it sounds like his predecessor is someone who's going to be, you know, just as solid, man, just as solid.
Yeah, and of course we all know there were some kids that, you know, bailed on the school. You know, maybe there'll be some kids that maybe make their way back. Who knows? You know, this stuff happens, and you know, what I call the knee-jerk reaction society that we live in. Kids, you know, they jump at the first opportunity or they're upset, but sometimes being patient, waiting just to see what the next guy is going to be like. Sometimes you might want to wait a little bit, but we'll see how everything goes. It's going to be interesting to watch how Cleveland High School's team looks this coming year.
Hey, since we're on basketball, can we talk a little Caitlin Clark?
Let's do it. We got some time.
My gosh.
Last night was absolutely electric. I was drawn to the TV. So if you don't know what happened, it got really, really chippy. Caitlin Clark has a rivalry with a girl that played at Ohio State. It dates back to when she was at Ohio State.
We don't remember her name, and it doesn't matter.
She got poked in the eye.
Yeah,
you know?
it looked pretty intentional.
Yeah,
and then
it did.
as she's walking off, another player comes over and levels Caitlin Clark. No ejections. They issued 4 technicals.
Ridiculous.
Caitlin got a technical. Then 3 players on the other team got a technical. But then, dude, Caitlin went off. She hit a 3 in that girl's face, let her know about it, and then one of her teammates later on basically like put the girl in an MMA hold, threw her to the ground. When she got back up, started grappling with her again. Like it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an MMA hole. It was a collar tie, and she kind of hit a good little wrestling snap down. But let me tell you what, you mentioned Caitlin Clark, but my favorite player on the Indiana Fever, Sophia Cunningham. My goodness, I tell you what.
She went to bat for, didn't she?
Hey, Missouri Tiger, and the eye of the Tiger came out last night because she was fired up. And listen, I thought about this. I'm a big Caitlin Clark fan. I enjoyed watching her at Iowa. She brought a lot of attention to college women's basketball, and obviously what she's done in the WNBA. I mean, she is the cream of the crop when it comes to premier women's basketball figurehead. Like she's on Mount Rushmore, there's no doubt about it. But I've just got to, again, I got to take the time to say this. Sophia Cunningham, my personal favorite.
Well, to me, if the WNBA is not going to do anything about people basically like wrecking ball Caitlin Clark any chance they get, then the Indiana Fever have to step up and have enforcers like Cunningham that are going to come in and say, all right, you want to throw a feather at us? We're hitting you over the head with a brick. Like, I love it.
2 years ago, is there any chance in the world that y'all would have brought up a WNBA?
Not a chance.
No. Not a chance. It took Caitlin Clark.
Now I'll say this. Here locally, Ryan Howard.
We get it.
Probably would have, if she did something big.
She hit 9 threes the other day.
Yeah, we talked about her when she was playing on the 3-on-3 team in the Olympics.
Yeah.
But so outside of Ryan Howard, because she's a local product, no, to answer your question.
But you know what? It's unbelievable how the officials let that game get out of hand last night. I put the blame on the officials. The players are going to give anything that the officials let them get. I've umpired a lot. You've got to reel it in before it gets out of control. You know what I call nip it in the bud, if you know what that term is. But the officials last night let them let it go, and it escalated. And you can't do that as an official.
Terrible management by the officials.
And really, the WNBA is going to have to do something about it, because you look at the ratings when she's on TV, they're through the roof. She just got off of being hurt. They slumped back down. Now she's back on, and it's up. If you're going to let her get just destroyed every time she steps on the court and nothing happens, then eventually she's going to get hurt again, and you end up hurting yourself.
Well, the post-game press conference, the coach for the Indiana Fever stepped up and basically said the same things we're saying. She said, listen, we're going to have to enforce it ourselves if they're not going to.
That's right.
She was very bold with her statement, which I love. That's a player's coach right there. I love that attitude. I love that she took that approach. And if I haven't been clear on this, I love Sophia Cunningham because she stepped up and was a teammate. That's being a good team player. And listen, beautiful lady, by the way, too.
I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to let the 2 young guys.
My wife's shaking her head at home right now
listening.
listening.
The 2 young guys here do that stuff.
But, hey, listen, great show today. Tony Barnhart, great interview. And, of course, new Cleveland High School head basketball coach, Howard Pride, being able to talk with both of those guys. Big-time show today here on The Drive. And coming up right after us here on The Drive is Finish Line Radio. They're going to talk about that Mexico City race, which was a lot of fun.
Hey, we got Rich Mazingo tomorrow for the Lookout, so we got that tomorrow, too.
Big-time show tomorrow. We're just keeping them rolling here on ESPN Cleveland. With that, I'm Andy Morris for Jim Gum, Jacob Mason. Everyone have a great day. Finish Line Radio up next.
It's time for a Don Ledford of Cleveland traffic update on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Don